Well, new fallout tonight over the bipartisan budget deal in Washington as we hear growing calls for Republicans to reject it. Mark Thiessen is a former speechwriter for President George W. Bush and a fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. And you have an interesting take on this, Mark, suggesting that the Republicans on Capitol Hill have a case of PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. What do you mean?
Exactly. Well, look, since Barack Obama took office, the Republicans have basically he's run the table over the Republicans, from the stimulus to Obamacare to the fiscal cliff tax increases. The one victory Republicans have had, the one government-reducing victory, was the Budget Control Act, the sequester. And they're giving it up. The spending was supposed to automatically go down for the next year, and instead we're raising it by $63 billion over the next 2 years. Why? Because they have PTSD. They're so scarred by the government shutdown experience that they are afraid of having another fiscal fight with President Obama in January. Paul Ryan basically said the reason he's doing this is because we don't want to have another shutdown scenario next year. So we're going to unilaterally concede the one victory that they've had since the Obama era began.
Shouldn't they be, having PTSD? Shouldn't they be a little worried?
Well, they should be a little worried. Look, the government shutdown was a disaster. It was, and the reason for that is because we had no chance whatsoever of winning, of defunding Obamacare. So the lesson of that isn't that Republicans shouldn't fight, it's that we shouldn't fight stupid, that we shouldn't pick fights that we can't win. We can win the fight for the Budget Control Act, because in Obamacare, what we were trying to do, Republicans were trying to do, is get the Democrats to undo a current law that we didn't like. In the case of the Budget Control Act, the sequester is the law. We don't have to do anything. The cuts are automatic. All we have to do is say, let's stick with the spending cuts that Democrats and Republicans agreed to, that your president signed into law, and let's continue those spending cuts. Instead, we're unilaterally agreeing to $63 billion in spending increases funded by new tax revenue.
And is this the future now? I mean, how long does the PTSD last? Because, this is a significant amount of money that they're sort of giving back, putting back into the pot.
Exactly.
And, are we just going to see more of that going forward, do you think?
Well, the interesting phenomenon that's happening here is, so the Tea Party-driven House just voted for this in a massive bipartisan vote. In the Senate, it's in trouble, which is where the establishment supposedly has control. So you've got people like Mitch McConnell and the entire Republican leadership, McConnell, Cornyn, Thune, everybody is against this. There's only one Republican senator who's come out for this. So it is entirely possible that next Tuesday, this deal will fail in the Senate, whereas the House Republicans voted for it in almost in unison.
Wouldn't that be ironic? Mark, good to see you.
Thanks, Megan.
Coming up, Charles Krauthammer joins us with his new interesting take on what really went wrong with Obamacare. Plus, a Kelly File follow-up on the real spirit of Christmas. An exclusive update on Mistletoe Madison. You have got to see this. Still ahead.
Hello, Megan. This is Mistletoe Maddie from the factory. We have sent thousands and thousands of boxes so far, and we have thousands more to go.